Hi everyone and welcome to episode 84 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks to everyone for tapping in. We truly appreciate your support. As you can see to my left here, we got with us the man, Mr. Big C in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Good to see you, bro.
Nice to see
Where's
you, man.
the intro, by the way? Travelled all the way down here for that.
Well, I was thinking it kind of works better when you're remote, because then
yeah.
I can bring you in this sort of blaze of glory. But as you're here, you know what I mean? You kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But we can do something, man, for future weeks, you know what I mean? But apart from the obvious, which we're going to talk about, what have you been up to?
Not too much, man. I think football's consumed everyone the past week or so, and it's been a crazy week in English football.
You've not been on the Henny drowning your sorrows?
Nah, I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
You're all right,
I was sad for a little bit, but recovered quick.
Yeah, I bet you recovered quickly. Yeah. Okay, well, listen, man. Unless you've all been under a rock or did a Richard Branson and visited another planet, you would have been aware that at the weekend we hosted a major final, the final of the Euros.
Yeah.
England versus Italy, a clash of two titans. Massive football nations went head to head. We was all expectant, and we thought it was coming home, but in the end, it went to Rome.
Yeah.
But Leo, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. England in the final of a major tournament for the first time in 55 years. The nation held its breath in expectation, but however, it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
Curtis, give us your thoughts on the game and the day. Let's start with the game now.
Let's start with the game. I think England missed an incredible opportunity. That's how I look back at that game. I think in general, look, everyone is proud, and the way they lifted the spirit of the nation, you know, and to get to a final always deserves credit. But to me, I'm not a big fan of this whole tapping people on the back when they've lost.
No,
I'm not. I respect the effort and I respect getting to the final, but
I know where we're going.
I think winners. I think the difference between winning and losing is that mentality. I think rather than saying, "Well done, great, you got to the final and lost," we should be saying, "We should have won that final." We were 1-0 up. I felt like we had control of that game. I think Italy were there to be beaten. You know, I know you're a boxing man. I feel like we had Italy on the ropes and we just backed off and allowed
You know
them,
what it is?
you know?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was using a boxing analogy the other day in talking about this game, and I described it as the early knockdown in a fight. You know, like when you watch a fight sometimes and...
Like Joshua against Ruiz, isn't it?
Yeah. You knock your guy down and you think, you're right, go on now, finish him off. But we never did. But anyway, come on.
Yeah, I think it was a huge opportunity. I think Southgate picked a team that kind of told me you're worried about them more than letting them worry about you. Of course, you have to respect Italy. They're a great team. They've played some brilliant football in this tournament. But they'd played extra time in 2 of their last 3 games. 60,000 England fans at Wembley, you know, all this array of attacking talent. I mean, they were looking at the value of the players on the England bench.
Yeah.
I think they said it's £600 million on the bench these guys are worth. And I just felt like, I almost feel like scoring that early was the worst thing that happened, because it kind of made England just go, we've got a lead, we'll retreat now. And we just didn't. I think a lot of those players and the manager will have regrets about that game, you know, because I just don't think they really went for the victory enough. It's like they were more scared of losing than trying to win it.
Do you think, like me, that it was kind of indicative of the way we played throughout the tournament largely?
Yeah, because, you know, Gareth Southgate was a defender. He's naturally cautious. And listen, I do commend the way the team have defended, because defending is a huge part of football. We can't ignore it. They conceded 2 goals in the whole tournament. Yeah. They actually haven't lost a game in normal time. They drew with Italy in the game, but so close yet so far. You know, I feel like the stars had aligned for England to win this. It's in England. Yeah. Our fans aren't allowed to even travel really and come and fill up the ground for their side. It was there to be won. And I think they should have won it.
Got to agree, man. I mean, like you said, we got the early goal, and I was thinking, right, let's go and, you know, I mean, assert our dominance, get that other goal, because I didn't think one would be enough to beat Italy, I must admit. No. And I also thought before the game, I heavily fancied us to win that game. But I did say to a couple of friends, and we had the watch along, shout out to everybody who attended the watch along. I said, you know what, the only way I can see, and trust me, I'm not being wise after the event, the only way I can see us losing this is if it goes to penalties.
Yeah.
And we got the early goal, and you're thinking, right, we don't want to be reckless, but let's come on, let's you know what I mean, take it to them a little bit, you know what I mean, let's assert our dominance. We'll probably get another goal, and that'll probably, you know what I mean, put it beyond their reach. But instead of that, we sat back, we contained, we didn't show enough attacking threat. And it's almost like the Italians said to themselves, you know what?
We can go to work here,
we can do something there, because these men are not pressing us the way you know, we probably thought that they would have done. And then I think it was about halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way through that first half, they started to assert control themselves. Yeah. And then in the second half, they were totally on top.
Dominance,
and that disappointed me, because I genuinely think we had the tools to do a number on them, you know what I mean? I mean, it's interesting that before the tournament started, a lot of people looked at that team, the England team and the England squad, and they said, right, the strengths lie in the midfield and in the attacking areas. Not too many people were giving them credit for the defence. Have to say, though, that the defence was outstanding throughout the tournament. So then you would have thought that the midfielders and the attackers would come into play, you know, but it didn't quite work out that way. He kind of set the team up. I described it as playing football with a handbrake on. Yeah. And it was enough to get us through the likes of Czech Republic and Ukraine and Denmark and teams like that. But when you come up against one of the better teams, I mean, I know we beat Germany. Some people would say that it's not the Germany of old. But when you're coming up against Italy, who had made, you know, they were pretty impressive throughout the tournament themselves. I just didn't think that that was going to be enough. So I was slightly disappointed in that regard. But I do give the team credit, because prior to the tournament, I think I'd said to you, and I'd said on this show, that my minimum requirement was a semi-final. I thought, we don't get to the semi-final with this team, and the fact that most of our games are going to be at home, then I would regard it as failure. They got to the final, we were 1-0 up, and to all intents and purposes, it looked like we might go on and win it. However, that didn't happen. So I'm going to give them credit.
No, listen, they deserve huge credit. Yeah. I kind of lay the blame with Gareth Southgate a little bit in the final. Yeah. Because I just think tactically he was outdone by Mancini.
Have to say I agree.
I don't think he adjusted the game quick enough. I felt his substitutions...
Oh, yeah, it was almost like major beef. It reminded me of Arteta,
didn't it? Yeah, it was all straight Arteta style. Yeah, I'll wait.
Wait until the game was pretty much gone. Then you want to try and do something after the horse has bolted. I mean, I'll give you an example of that. I think Saka's substitution was the first one of the game. 71 minutes, right? Yeah. Do you know what minute Jack Grealish came into this game?
What was it?
99 minutes of football had passed before Jack Grealish come on the pitch. Now, to me, he's one of our better attacking players, and we needed something. And you bring him on at that time and really expect him to have that much of an effect. Yeah, I think it's unfair on the player.
Yeah, 100%, because you saw Italy. Mancini was making early substitutions. I think he made 5 subs in the game, and he made them early as well. You could see they were tiring, they needed something different. Southgate, what I think with him, he makes the easy substitution. So he'll be like, I can take Trippier off, I can take Mason Mount off. But when it's like, wow, now I've probably got to take off Sterling or Kane or somebody with a bigger reputation. Because I don't know if anyone noticed, there was a point in extra time where the camera panned to the bench and Rashford was taking his shirt off as if I'm coming on. So I said, yes, Rashford. A minute later, I'm like, where's Rashford? Man's sitting down, and you bring him on in the 28th minute of extra time.
I think, we're going
to talk about that, but I just felt you got so much talent on the bench, and you didn't turn to it early.
Listen, man, having watched Arsenal, one of the main criticisms of Arteta, whilst he's been at Arsenal, is that his substitutions are not very imaginative. No. And they're very, how can I put it? It's almost like they are reactive rather than proactive. And that's the same for Southgate. And I also thought as well, with the substitutions, they were like for like substitutions. You wanted something that's going to impact the game early. Yeah. So had I been a manager, and I'm sure you feel the same way, at half time, I'd have been saying to these guys, listen, man, you know what I mean, unless we're losing control of the game here, the Italians are coming back at us.
Yeah.
I would either have made a couple of changes then, or I'm saying to them, listen, I'm going to give you 10, 15 minutes to restore the balance back in our favour.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to make some changes. So I was disappointed after 55, 60 minutes.
There wasn't movement.
We're getting dominated the way we were, and he didn't make any substitutions. So, but yeah, listen. Hopefully, he'll learn from this. But he does. I have to say, whilst I give him credit for a lot of things, he is a very pragmatic manager and a bit cautious, and I think he was overly so at times during this
100%.
game. But right, okay then. So they get an equaliser. And we're not able to get a winner during normal time or in extra time. By the time extra time had arrived, although we'd picked up a little bit, it was starting to have that feel
it's
about it.
It's going to go to penalties.
The Italians were definitely playing for penalties.
Yeah.
And you can see why. 6'8" Donnarumma with his wingspan in the goal. It's going to be quite an intimidating prospect to score. Spain found that out, and ultimately we found that out. Just a quick word on the penalties. A lot of people have criticised the manager and said that the line-up for the penalties was wrong. It shouldn't have befallen Bukayo Saka, 19 years old, never taken a penalty in a senior game, to step up and take a penalty of that magnitude. What was your thoughts on the line-up?
I think, first of all, my initial feeling is you've got to remember Southgate will ask them who wants to take a penalty.
Right.
Naturally, at a penalty shootout, Kane will be nailed on to take one. He's the penalty taker. You know, he obviously spoke to Rashford and Sancho before bringing them on. They must have said, we'll take one. He would have then asked the other players who wants to take a penalty. Harry Maguire's never taken a penalty from what I remember. He's obviously said, I'll take one. He's taken responsibility. I think on one hand, I look at the situation with Saka and I think when you're young, sometimes when you're younger in life, you're more fearless.
Yes.
He's had a great season at Arsenal. He's had a very good Euros. He's confident. He probably thinks, I'll score that. I'm 19. I don't see no fear. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Maguire the same. He stepped up. My initial thought process was, Luke Shaw's been taking free kicks this whole game, so he's obviously a set-piece man. Raheem Sterling scored a winning penalty for Man City in the League Cup final against Chelsea a couple of years ago. Right. He's taken penalties before. And Jack Grealish, although he's not a penalty taker, you look at him as a technically very gifted player. So my first feeling was, how are those three not taking a penalty?
I think a lot of
and Maguire and Saka are taking penalties. That was my initial thought. With that fifth penalty, because a lot of people's problem was, why is Saka taking that fifth penalty? The fifth penalty is a little bit of a controversial penalty because I remember a few years ago, Ronaldo was down for the fifth penalty for Portugal. Portugal lost after 4 penalties and he never took one. He was criticised because they said, as the best penalty taker, you should have took one earlier. But everyone knows Ronaldo, me, he likes that fifth penalty because that can be the glory penalty.
You don't think that it was an ulterior
motive
nah,
you know,
with Ronaldo? Surely not.
but listen, you got to look at it like this. If Rashford or Sancho would have scored their penalty, Saka would have been taking that penalty to win the Euros. If he scores that penalty, he's the hero. We're celebrating him. This whole show's about it. So it's difficult for a manager to say you're not taking a penalty when you're saying, I will take the penalty. And
can I just interject there? Because you may have already known about this, but this is something that I found out, is that the manager had based the penalty kick takers on what he'd seen in training. And from what I'm hearing is those 5 had registered the best numbers in the camp. So that is why he went with... and that would be slightly backed up by what I saw in the immediate aftermath of the game in normal time finishing or after extra time. So Gareth Southgate seemed to... you know what I mean? He was already
talking
going
the order of who's taking them.
Yeah. So it's almost like he already knew who was going to take them.
Yeah.
And of course he made the substitutions with
that in mind.
With those two in mind.
I think the one thing I would have just done is I would have given Saka like the second, third penalty. That's the only thing. In terms of him taking a penalty at 19, I just think when you're at that level, a manager doesn't look at you as a 19-year-old.
No, that's true.
You're just a professional player at the
if
top
you're old
level.
enough, you're good enough. That's how they
You've got to take that. It's a penalty at the end of the day. And like you said, if he's been banging them in training, he's going to take it. I think my biggest surprise was Rashford missing.
He was a bit unfortunate, wasn't he?
He was unfortunate.
Because he hit the post.
Because he got a lot of
criticism. He actually sent Donnarumma the wrong way.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of people were saying, oh, that run-up, what was that run-up? But he's actually sent the goal. It was, but I just think Southgate, I don't think you can bring a player on for 2 minutes and say, take a penalty. I know people will say it's not like you have to run around to take a penalty. I just don't think you're acclimatised to the game. He probably hasn't even kicked that ball. Yeah. He probably hasn't even kicked that ball. So the first time you're kicking it is the biggest kick of your whole career. Yeah. I think they should have been given 15, 20 minutes on the pitch before they took a penalty. So it was one of those things. I felt sorry for Pickford as a goalkeeper. If you save 2 out of 5, really your team should win.
And one of those he saved was by none other than Jorginho, who's recognised as an excellent penalty taker. Even he missed one. So it just shows the pressure of the game can get to anybody.
The crazy thing is, Maguire, who's never taken one as far as we know, he takes the best penalty out of everyone.
Because did you notice that the one that Harry Kane took, it just about went in?
It was a good penalty though.
And I was sitting next to Scully, who's the coach of our AFTV team. Shout out to Scully if he's watching this, which I'm sure he will be. And we were saying that if that one by Kane, let's face it, he's our best penalty taker here, and that one just squeezed in, it's going to take something of metronomic accuracy or real power to beat him. Yeah. And I just think that, I don't know about you, but I think sometimes with these penalty takers, they try to be a bit too cute. Okay, the likes of Jorginho have shown in the past where they can fool the goalkeepers, do the little run up and then, slow down and do like these different techniques, and it works. But when it doesn't work, man, it can make you look a bit of a fool, you know what I mean?
I think like you said, with Donnarumma being so big, my thought process would have been, if you're taking a penalty against him, it's got to have power on it.
It's got to.
Because if he gets to it, the likelihood is he's going to save it. So I think you've got to take it the way Kane and Maguire took it. Where
Maguire, he just put his foot through it.
And he put in the top corner. I think he hit the camera and everything. But there was a lot
of venom in that shot.
There was a lot of
aggression.
That was a great penalty.
That was like Donnarumma, get out the way. You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean. I respected that because Maguire is not a penalty taker.
No.
And he's had the bravery to say, I'm going to take responsibility, I remember a few years ago, again, Ronaldo, he was going up to a player on his team saying, take a penalty. You're a good penalty. I think it was João Moutinho. Must have said, no, I don't want one. And he was like, listen, you're a good penalty taker, take one. It doesn't matter if you miss. Did he score it? I think he did, actually. Okay. I remember there's a video that's been circulating, but and I know Grealish obviously came out afterwards, didn't he, and said that, I did offer to take one and was...
I mean, listen, I've got no reason to doubt Grealish. And I wasn't really in favour. I mean, a lot of people, I know Roy Keane and 1 or 2 others were saying, why didn't this one take it and why didn't that one? For me, it's not about that, you know what I mean? You've got to be confident in what you're doing, and I would have expected the manager. He's been saying all along in all the interviews that he'd given before this stage, he was saying that we practice penalties. He actually, I heard him say, he said, listen, when I took that famous penalty in 96 that didn't go in and he got slaughtered for it, he goes, that was a teachable moment for me because I've always thought if I go into management, we're going to practice penalties. And he said, not only do they practice penalties, they practice them regularly. Yeah. And like I said, I had heard that those 5 that were selected to take them against Italy were registering the best numbers in training, hence why he went with them. Okay, so it doesn't go our way. The Italians win on penalties. Some people would argue and say that on the day they probably deserved to win. I think that's probably right, if I'm being honest, although I was very disappointed. The penalty shootout I was always worried about, and so it transpired. We lost that. I was gutted, man. As an English person, as an English football fan, I was gutted also for Saka. You know what I mean? He was distraught. He saw the way the players went to him. Fair play as well to the other players and the manager. They didn't leave him like what the French did with Mbappé.
Left him there to suffer,
like, you know what I mean? They actually did show that. And again showed me the side of the England football
togetherness,
team that I liked. You
yeah.
saw that. You saw the manager made a beeline for Saka,
Yeah.
held him, words of encouragement and so forth. You know what I mean? But then later on that night, bro,
Aye.
I was getting messages on my phone. I was like, Laurie, man, have you heard what's going down? Because obviously I was still at the studio with these guys. And I was like, no. And then I started to send me some screenshots of some of the stuff that was being said. And it quickly went from disappointment and desolation to anger, man. I was like, bro, you know what? If this is the way that fans are going to carry on. Do you know that the N-word was actually trending on Sunday night?
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
And I was thinking like, bro, like, I know people are going to say it's a minority, but it's a sizable minority.
Yeah,
it
is.
And I just thought to myself, I actually got mad. I was like, you know what? I don't even care about the football anymore, man. This is, for me, this is bigger than the football. Because we can come again. This is something that I found really distasteful. It was disgusting. And the racist vitriol that I saw, some of the stuff that I saw screenshotted, was as bad as I've seen it, man. I mean, listen, it's funny. Using funny is a difficult term to use in this regard, but I sat next to Scully, and Rashford stepped up. So he would have been the first of the three that missed, three black players that missed. And it was funny because we were sat next to each other, we were watching the screen, and we turned to each other and almost simultaneously we said, I hope you don't miss this because you know what's going to... Yeah. We literally said that at the same time.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind betting that a collective breath was being held by black people especially, up and down the country. And it's sad to have to say that, but we knew what was going to go down if any of them man missed. And the fact that three of them missed, I just thought, rah. So I had a feeling that something like this would happen.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I never thought it would be as bad as it was. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, first of all, I'm like you, I wasn't surprised. And I think that says more than anything that we're expecting.
No one was surprised.
No one was surprised. Everyone, I had the same feeling as you. Rashford missed, I said, man better turn off his comments. Because you know what's going to happen. Then Sancho, then
I shouldn't laugh.
But I'm just like, and I'm like you. I was really like unhappy when England lost. I was like, no, I'm gutted for the team and the players and the manager and the country. But then when I saw that behaviour, I'm like, do you know what? Do we deserve it? Do we deserve it? Like, look at the way the fans are behaving. They're breaking into the stadium. They're trashing the city centre. They're racially abusing players, telling them to go back to their country. Like, come on. A week ago, when Sterling was getting them to the final, what? You're throwing your beer in the... Well, a week later, you're not part of us. You're not from it. Like, come on. To me, I think, and it's sad to say, I think young black upcoming footballers are going to have to question whether they represent England in the future, because... I
mean, I was chatting to you afterwards, and I was saying, like, you've got a young son who, incidentally, he's going to be a very good footballer, I can see already. Where is he at now?
Cambridge.
Yeah, shout out to your son, man. Doing big things already. Now, presumably you would have had to explain to him what was going on when he's seen that.
Yeah.
That must be difficult for you as a father.
Yeah, because like we were saying, young kids don't see race.
No, they don't.
So they're like, what's going on? Why are they saying things like that? And I'm like, this is the reality though. I also can't hide him from it because this is what's here.
This is real.
I always say that football is a reflection of society.
Absolutely.
This isn't a football issue. You know, the guy who's racially abusing them, he's got this in him in real life. It isn't just a football thing. Until we try and eradicate it from society and educate, and also there has to be, you know, people have to be held accountable. People should be getting arrested for this.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be able to do this. I see a guy the other day on Sky, he's a football coach. One of the guys who was sending abuse, and another guy was a teacher, and I'm like...
Have you heard about the Portsmouth players?
I saw that. Yeah, 4 youth team players, wasn't it, at Portsmouth?
Youth team as well. I mean, you know, I mean, it's not just the domain. You know, a lot of these the so-called racists get pigeonholed, don't they? You know,
older guy,
fat white guy, bald-head, drives a white van. No, it's not like that, bro. It's pervasive. It was extremely disappointing, man, and it made me question my allegiance to the England team. At a time, I might add, when I was fully invested in the England team. we all wanted them to win, absolutely. You know what I mean? We was all getting excited. We was all talking up our chances. We all bought into that whole ethos. And that's another thing I want to give Gareth Southgate credit for. Since he's come on board with this England team and taken it over, there's been a noticeable shift, isn't it? He's embraced youth. He's embraced diversity. Even with regards to taking the knee, the way he conducted that whole thing was very impressive to me. So he's got a group of guys around him, man, and they're all buying into
definitely
the England as we know it, or as certainly as we see it down south. Anyway, you know what I mean. And listen, I knew that some of those guys were going to get stick, but to be honest, the scale of it was went further than I thought.
I think what's disappointed me as well is, and we were talking about it, Rashford and Sancho at the time of recording this have put out statements and apologised, and I'm like, you haven't purposely missed that penalty. No. You've given everything you can for your team. They're saying Rashford needs to have an operation. He played through an injury.
Bad shoulder. They've
done everything they can. Nobody misses a penalty on purpose. Imagine how distraught we are as fans. Imagine how they feel. They've actually had to miss that penalty. They probably relived it. So you're telling me now that when a black player makes a mistake, he has to apologise for it? You know, 2 years ago, Harry Kane could have passed the ball to Sterling against Croatia, 2-0, game over, England in the final. You don't have to apologise for it, does he? But now you're telling me these guys have got to apologise. I mean, it's crazy. It's very disappointing. And like you said, I felt a lot more connected with this England team. But when I saw that behaviour, very quickly I was like, I'm watching the Gold Cup, Jamaica. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it is as well, right? Because obviously I'm a lot older than you. Okay? It was actually my birthday on the final, so that would have been an even bigger day for me. It was already a great day, but that would have sealed it. But anyway, I'm of a certain age, right? I was alive when England last won major honours, so that's a little indication of how old I am. But I'm a lot older than you, and I've seen a lot. So I can remember back in the 80s, I can distinctly remember this, 86 World Cup, things like that, where there was a lot of black people, probably myself included, I'm not gonna like extricate myself, who wanted England to lose, even though, and you know why? It's because at that time, the way England football was, it's a very racist environment, especially at national level. And I felt that like the flag of St. George was just being hijacked by racists. And I couldn't fathom putting my energy and soul behind
supporting
you know what I mean, something like that was detrimental to me. You know what I mean? That the people that was out there following England were like hardcore racists, Combat 18 and all these other right-wing groups. And it made you feel that, you know what, I can't support this team. So I'm indifferent towards it. Or I might even want them to lose, you know what I mean? So I just don't, you know, we can just move on from it. And over the years, I'm happy to say that slowly but surely, it's changed. And the last couple of tournaments, and this one especially, I've really felt a connection to this English team. I feel it's a team that represents me, a team that I look at and I think it's a reflection of the England that I know. I mean, I know that doesn't apply to everybody in the country, but certainly from my point of view, I'm looking at that team. There's white players there, there's mixed race players there, there's black players there. You look at the coaching staff, it's diverse, it's multicultural. And there's a connection there that I can relate to, you know what I mean? And so that was another reason why this was very disappointing, because now I'm forced to reappraise and think, well, actually, maybe I didn't quite get it.
It's not quite right, where you know what I mean?
It was so disappointing. And listen, I still want England to win, and I'll be cheering them on for the Qatar World Cup, obviously. But it just make you check yourself, innit? You think to yourself, you know what?
Things aren't right.
Is this how it's going to be then? Every time a black player makes a mistake,
they're going to be on to it.
And not only that as well, I mean, I don't know how you feel. I'm trying to let our white viewers who are watching this, because a lot of the black people watching this will know where I'm coming from. But I'm just trying to make some of our white viewers understand how it feels for us. And you look at that and you think to yourself, is that how it's going to be then? Every time a black player makes a mistake? I mean, okay, this time they missed penalties. Can you imagine a black player conceding an own goal? or making a really bad mistake that leads to a goal being conceded and we subsequently lose the game. Is this how it's going to be all the time?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, no, something's got to happen. And for that, you're looking at leadership. And for that, you're looking at, people in football who hold high positions to do something. You're looking at the government. Now, the current government, Boris Johnson, I was very disappointed with him, with that whole situation with the knee. And then Priti Patel made a comment. She was called out for it
By
by people like
Mings,
Tyrone Mings. And they're absolutely right as well, because basically what Tyrone Mings is saying, you guys, through your lack of leadership, are laying the groundwork for exactly this type of thing.
Yeah.
Very disappointed, man.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sad, it could have gone so well.
It was a sad way to end
and
it.
in the end, it ended so sadly. So,
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts on it, man. But yeah, man, unless you got anything else you want to add.
Listen, like you said, I think Gareth deserves credit in the team. They lifted the spirit of the nation. I think they should have won it, but then, like you said, the behaviour after, you just can't excuse. And I think it's created a bit of tension in the air. I've got to be honest. I feel like it's made the mood a little different, man. You know what I mean? So
what could have been a huge day of celebration has now left a lot of people, myself and you included, looking at it and thinking, questioning the future.
Yeah.
But listen, man, let's hope that things improve over the months. And we got the World Cup coming up. It's about 14 months' time. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, it's kind of disappointing to end on such a sad note from what promised so much. But there you go. Okay, then. So moving on, let's look at some Arsenal issues. Because Arsenal
plenty of issues there.
I always say with Arsenal, they are the gift that keeps giving, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're very fortunate in some ways to support a club like Arsenal because it's never boring at Arsenal.
They just feed you content. You want content, we'll give it you, mate, every day.
Yeah, man. So let's look at some of the latest news with regards to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Let's start by looking at some of the transfer activity, or as I like to say, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we know now that your friend and mine, Mr. Dog Catcher Nuno tomorrow. I still haven't watched that video, by the way.
No, you don't want to watch that video.
I'm not gonna.
Stay away from that.
No. So that's been announced, right?
Yeah, he's signed.
Yeah, very talented player, apparently.
Yeah.
Back up for Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing him on the pitch.
Yeah. He got some good pedigree about him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing him.
Yeah.
And this guy, I keep butchering his name.
Go on,
I've got
here
it
we
in front of me,
go.
right? So I'm going to say it slowly.
Go on.
Albert Sambi Lokongo.
There you go.
Right. Central midfielder. We're hearing that the deal's pretty much done.
Yeah.
70 million. And we're hearing that it could be announced as early as this weekend.
Yeah.
Word on the street, man, he's very good.
Let's hope so.
You said yourself, didn't you, that you'd researched him and found out that Vincent...
But do you know what it is? I always have reservations with this kind of research. YouTube can make people look very good.
Comes with mitigation.
Yeah, I remember Yaya Sanogo, man. We signed him. I went on YouTube. I was like, "Rah, this guy's a baller." We all know, that postman wasn't that good.
Well.
Yeah, so... But let's hope so. I mean, Henri's recommended him. He's been captain of Anderlecht.
You know what? Knowing Henri as we do, I'm going to say this. If he's recommended somebody, they're going to be half decent. Because he doesn't look like the type of guy that suffers fools.
No, you would think so. But, we know about his coach. The Henri the player and Henri the coach. They're not at the,
at the same level.
They're not quite at the same level, so...
Well, it's early days here, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Listen, it's good to see new players coming in, but we need bigger signings than that as well.
But like Curtis says, this guy comes recommended by Henri and by Vincent Kompany. So, you know what I mean? That's two stalwarts of the modern game. And so if they're saying this guy's good, then I would like to believe that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, we spoke about this briefly last week. I'm going to touch on it very briefly, but Ruben Neves.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that he's in the running as a possible replacement for Granit Xhaka.
Ruben Neves, to me, I think he's a good player. I would say I think he's better than Xhaka in the Premier League. Like I said before, Man City wanted him in 2019 for 60 million. So maybe this is where Arteta's getting the, well, Pep wanted him 2 years ago, so I want him 2 years later. You know what I mean? But it's just for me, I still want Basuma or someone like that.
But
I like
that's
Neves.
kind of fallen off.
Yeah, I feel like we don't even really want
Basuma.
Basuma.
I've not even heard his name mentioned.
Nah, and this
you're the only one I've heard mention his name.
Yeah, I know.
Recently.
And this guy's putting like Arsenal shirts in the background of pictures and all sorts. But Ruben Neves will be a good signing, but you just don't know with Arsenal. Like I say, linked with everyone, sign no one.
Sign no one.
You know?
Okay, what about this one? This one's kind of come out of left field. Apparently, we've been linked to Sam Johnston, goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Currently at West Brom.
I think he's decent.
Yeah,
like
we've got a lot of work.
Yeah, at West Brom, he's getting probably 20 shots a game. To be honest, I like him more than Ramsdale. Who would be Ramsdale is the one I don't want nothing to do with.
I think you made that pretty clear.
I made that clear, yeah. Johnston, listen, if he comes in to challenge with Leno, I think I see West Ham had a bid turned down for him. So, if we were to get him, we definitely need a keeper after I watched that Hibernian game anyway.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. Yeah. And of course, we've still got that spectre of Martinez in the background. I mean, he had another successful tournament.
That one
has a tournament, apparently.
That one hasn't worked out great, has it?
No,
15 clean sheets at Villa and then wins the Copa America. Messi says he's one of the biggest influencers on them winning that tournament, but not good enough for Arsenal.
And to be fair to Martinez, he's not slow in coming forward and reminding Arsenal every time, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
What about this one? This one's interesting. The Odegaard deal could be back on due to Real Madrid's financial constraints and troubles that they're having. They're saying that Odegaard might come back. Mm-hmm. Would you be up for that?
I wouldn't mind him back because they're saying now like 25, 30 million. I think before they were quoting 40, 50 million, which to me was not worth that. But that would suit Arsenal down to the ground. Madrid need the money, so I'm sure they'll be flexible with how we pay the money back. And it's a cheaper price. We've had him here before. I think Arteta would love that deal.
It's interesting, for a couple of weeks ago, he's actually like gone on record as saying goodbye.
Yeah, publicly, To me, he wouldn't be my number one target. The one thing with him as a number 10, I don't think he's enough of a goal threat.
Yeah.
I want a goal scorer in that role, Odegaard. But I could see Arsenal going for it. It would definitely suit them, I think.
It's interesting you should mention goal-scoring midfielders, because the next person I'm going to mention has been exactly that. The only problem is he's not done it for Arsenal, and that's Joe Willock. There's talks that he could be coming back, or he could be going to Newcastle, but on loan again. I don't quite understand why I'd be going there again on loan. I thought if Newcastle wanted that badly, they should get the check.
That deal to me makes no sense.
No, it don't.
To me, there's two scenarios with Joe Willock. Number one, you bring him back and you try and develop him now. Or number two, you sell him while his value should be higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I think he's got 2 years left on his deal. So if he goes back to Newcastle, doesn't do well, comes back, he's got a year left. What's he going to be worth? You're going to get peanuts.
I don't understand that one.
To me, if he's going back to Newcastle, sell him to Newcastle. Yeah. But again, it's the Arsenal way. It doesn't make sense.
Me personally, I'd be inclined to keep him. I'd say to him, listen, man, you've done it for Newcastle. How about you do it for us?
I think that question mark with Willock is like, is that his level, Newcastle? Can he actually come to Arsenal?
Premier League level.
It's Premier League, but they're relegation battle side. And where would Arteta fit him in his system? That's the problem.
Yeah, that would be the problem. But an interesting one, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, this next one, I know is really going to disappoint you. You've had a disappointing week, and then you get to hear that Bellerin wants away, and you must have been crying in your suit.
Who, me? Hector Bellerin? I think we've got a point.
When you heard that, you must have thought, I thought my week was bad. No, it can't get any worse now that one of my favourite players wants away from us.
I don't think Hector Bellerin is anyone's favourite player.
Hector Bellerin is Hector Bellerin's favourite player. Yeah,
exactly. I tell you what, Milan Fashion Week, it'll suit him down to the ground. But again, they're saying loan, man. A loan. We can't get no transfer fee for no one by the look of it.
Wow. The less I say about this one, the better.
I think you better stay quiet on this one.
But, let's just put it like this. If he gets his wish, I will happily wish him on his way.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, so in other news related to Arsenal, we know that the pre-season is upon us. We spoke about that last week.
Yeah.
And this week, Arsenal had a friendly game. Nice and friendly.
It was
nice and friendly.
Do you know what I called Hibernian the Scottish Weatherspoons, which is a bit disrespectful, but you know what I'm saying,
disrespectful.
But it was
you might
another.
Have some Scotsmen knocking on your door, bro. You know what I mean? There's quite a few of them around here as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, right. So last Tuesday,
Yeah.
played Hibernian, lost.
And by the way, Arsenal charged fans $7.99 to watch that game online.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I must declare here now that I had a previous engagement. I was appearing on Jordan, our good friend Jordan, who's coming on the show. Shout out to Jordan. We're having him back on the show soon as well. I had to go appear Channel 4 podcast.
I know, big things now, mate. Big things, you know.
When you're on the Talkish Cheap show,
yeah,
man,
big
that
things
carries swag
happen, you know.
That carries influence. But anyway, yeah, so I was down there. So I missed the game, and from what a lot of people are telling me, that probably did me a favour. But you watched the game, right?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on it?
I mean, look, it's not. You don't need to get over carried away about a pre-season result. We've beaten top teams before. We've lost to teams we shouldn't have. I think the worry for Arsenal fans is it feels like a continuation of last season. The players didn't look overly bothered. They didn't look overly happy to be there. Arteta, there were a lot of pictures, hands in his head. It was like, bro, this is a friendly, man. You look stressed.
I heard that Arteta out was trending.
Yeah, Arteta out was trending, you know what I mean? I see grey hairs in his beard. What? Yeah, I swear that. Willian's come back looking like Sherman Clump, Nutty Professor. Looks like he's been eating steak.
Where's he been training? Nando's?
In his restaurant. Yo, I'm telling you.
Wait, you showed me a picture. It's a pity we can't get the picture up, man, but the picture that seriously, Robbie, my brother Robbie's belly is slimmer than that. And that's no disrespect to my brother, obviously, but no, seriously, when I saw him, I was like, wow.
Sherman Clump, bruv, Nutty Professor. I don't know what Willian's been.
Where's he been doing his training?
Bruv, he don't care at this point, does he? He's saying, listen, give me the bag. I'm going to eat what I want. Even Hector Bellerin looked like...
Yeah, I
thought this
too.
guy was vegan. I don't know what he's been eating all summer. But nah, listen, to me, I mean, we had a young guy in goal, made a mistake. It was a bad mistake. Eddie and Nketiah one-on-one puts it wide. Like, Kolasinac. I mean, you're charging $7.99 to watch Kolasinac, an overweight Willian, and Eddie and Nketiah putting the one-on-one wide. I think
the only positive thing I can say for that friendly is that Pepe missed the penalty, as we know. At least he didn't get racially abused on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's about the only positive.
Do you know what? Someone said on Twitter that Pepe missed on purpose to try and help Saka.
Show solidarity.
Sticking together, man. I said, Micaiah, that one's for you, man. You've had a bad week. Oh man, the
talking of which, that was a nice touch that the Hibernian guys did.
No, that was
Saka.
nice. They put the shirt up, man.
But I get it now. Now I get it. So the man missed a penalty out of solidarity.
I said, listen, bro, I'm on your side, man. You know what I mean? Pepe actually played well when he came on.
But then, as we've seen in the past, that don't seem to make no difference with the manager, does it? Sometimes I think with Pepe and Arteta, the better he plays, the worse he's going to get treated. Yeah. Oh, God.
No, I tell you what, every year Arsenal have one kit that when they play in that kit, they seem to just lose games. And I think this year, that yellow kit is the one.
Yeah, but lo and behold, there's another kit coming out tomorrow.
Home kit's out tomorrow. It's the Arsenal way, man, I'm telling you.
This is what I'm saying, man. Arsenal, seriously, they are the team. If you want a team, that's why that Amazon documentary, listen, that is gold. You know,
they'll win an Oscar for that.
Yeah,
that'll
listen,
get record
you talk
views.
about, that's like the football Love Island.
Yeah.
Because seriously, man, that club, whatever you want to say about it, man, there's never a dull moment.
Nah, never.
And I think that documentary will bring that home.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that immensely. There's going to be some real stars and villains, the whole shebang.
Will Arteta finish the series? That's the question.
Well, I hope so, but more results like this, and oh man. Well,
Rangers.
we do have another friendly coming up, a chance to redeem themselves. The only problem is Rangers are going to be, considerably better than Hibernian.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another difficult day. Any thoughts on that?
It's a tough game. Arteta used to play for them. Obviously, they're champions.
If we get a penalty, who you think will take this one?
Well, I don't know. I think Pepe better leave this one alone, man.
I think Aubameyang will step up.
It's crazy, isn't it? They probably went on that Scotland tour thinking, go Scotland, not as good as the Prem, we'll get a couple of victories and boost the confidence. We could be coming back from Scotland with 2 L's. Wow. Now, I was joking after the game. I said it's the jet lag. 30-minute flight to Scotland has tired the players out, but no, it'll be a tough game. Man.
It will be.
Listen,
I've got to say though, it's a little unfair the fans calling for Arteta already. I mean, come on, man. It was a friend.
Even I wasn't saying that, and I'm not a big Arteta fan, but to get Arteta out trending.
Although I would say that friendlies, you can look at them and say it doesn't really mean much, but you are, if you're Arteta, I would have thought anyway, you're looking for a certain standard, aren't you? Yeah. And when you saw Eddie missing that goal, and some of the defensive errors that were being made and some of the performances, and then like you said, the way that some of the players have turned out, woefully out of condition, it doesn't reflect well on the club.
I think the one positive I take from that, despite losing a game, which I never want Arsenal to do, sometimes I have that fear that players that aren't good enough, who we know need to go, they come back, they have a decent pre-season, all of a sudden they're back in the fold. At least this is highlighting to Arteta, listen, you got to get rid of a lot of these players. So,
but unfortunately for him, they were so poor that you can't see any prospective buyers.
No, who's going to buy them? Willian,
we've got an AFTV FC team. Kolasinac's not doing nothing next week. We've actually got a final. We need a left back.
Yeah, we could do with him. I'm not sure Willian would be past fit, mate, in that condition. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. Yeah, but all jokes aside, man. Listen, you know what? We're coming to the end of the show, and I must say I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to have you back. Not before time, man. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show too, bro. Yeah, man. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Man. Check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV. We've been hitting some record-breaking numbers,
enough
man.
Respect, man.
Respect,
man. Tell the people about the numbers you looked
Copper
on.
America, man. 600,000 views, and that it was mad. Just
man called up the Gucci store and said, "Yo, just make sure that nobody else is around when I come through." You know, some Floyd Mayweather
Man's on the way tomorrow, man.
Man's
you know
on some
what I mean?
Mayweather shit, man. No, but congratulations.
Appreciate
you
it,
deserve it, because I watched some of your watch-alongs, man. They're very entertaining.
Yeah, I appreciate
and I've seen some of your content in the immediate aftermath of the England game, and I thought you struck the right notes on pretty much everything you said there, man. And I'm not just blowing smoke because you sat next to me. I actually rang you up and told you this before. So, but yeah, man, thanks for coming in. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Listen, people, thanks for tapping in. Really appreciate your support. Continue to do so. Like, share, subscribe. Keep the show interactive, man. Let us know what you think of the subjects we spoke about today. What do you feel about in the immediate aftermath of the England game? Do you think me and Curtis are going over the top? Do you think we're playing the race card or whatever? Or do you have some general empathy of what we're trying to say? Listen, we're two black guys, obviously, and we're just trying to portray the way most of our community feel about what happens, man. We feel very let down, we feel very disappointed. But it'd be interesting to hear what you guys think, you know what I mean? So please let us know. Keep supporting us, man. Keep tapping in, and we'll see you next week. We're out.